Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Newsroom. I'm your host Khalid. But today is Monday, the 6th of January 2025, and these are the stories that we will be highlighting during the course of our show. We'll begin, ladies and gentlemen, with the latest as far as the Middle East situation is concerned. Day 456 of the Israel-Palestinian conflict. Today, so many days that have gone by, still there is no sign of a peace deal or a ceasefire, although both the sides are talking it out, thrashing it out in Qatar. But despite the fact that Hamas is hinting at a list of 34 captives that might be released as a result of this ceasefire negotiation, the Israeli side does not accept that any such deal has yet taken place. Anyways, let's see what time has to put. Nevertheless, what we see in Palestine, what we see in different parts of Gaza also is just destruction. This is what the doctors have also seen: a lack of food, water, medicine, basic health supplies, basic living supplies, and the way the women and the children are being butchered since this whole conflict began is going to be remembered for generations. This is going to be our first segment. Our second story, ladies and gentlemen, today concerns the world, the population, that being an issue across the world, how it is increasing in some parts of the world like ours, and in some parts it is decreasing. In fact, how should we move forward when it comes to countries such as Pakistan in the 21st century? What are different paradigms of population and population control? And this is going to be something that we will discuss in our second segment with an exclusive guest. Our third story, ladies and gentlemen, concerns a Chinese scientist that has named 16 new spider species. Yes, 16 new spider species after pop songs. Now, he has named these 16 spider species after pop songs of a very, very famous Chinese artist, Chinese pop singer. And this is what people are quite amused by when they learn or hear or read about it. It's unique, it's different, but that is what it makes it very different from the others. Finally, we are going to talk about the 82nd Golden Globe Awards, ladies and gentlemen, that were held last night, Sunday evening in the US, but of course Monday morning because of the time difference in Pakistan as well. Many many of the films got the accolades, many did not. But of course the Brutalist and the Spanish language musical Emilia Perez got the most awards. Emilia Perez is on Netflix, and so are others on different streaming platforms. Nevertheless, a night full of glamour, glitz, and many accolades. We will be discussing that as part of our last story. Let's begin with the first, and that concerns the Middle East situation, day 456 of the Israel-Palestine conflict. We've been joined in the studios by Dr. Tughral Yamin. He is a senior analyst, and we'll also be joined online by Dr. Jamil Ahmed Khan, who's a former ambassador and analyst. Let's begin. Oh, you are here, Dr. Jamil. So welcome, Dr. Jamil, to our show after a very long hiatus as well. We'll begin with Dr. Tughral Yamin. Dr. Saab, 13 Palestinians across Gaza have been killed overnight, 31 in the last 24 hours. More than 45,000 have been killed so far since the 7th of October 2023. We are already day 456. Can you imagine? I mean, we know with the Ukraine-Russia conflict also the number of days is quite large, but never had we thought that in the Middle East there will be a conflict that will go that far and with that much destruction. What are you foreseeing?
I am foreseeing that the Israelis will eventually kill everybody in Gaza, and they will not stop before that. And they want to, they've already occupied Golan Heights, we know, because of the fall of the Bashar regime. They have already gone into Golan. Nobody has said a word about it. They are going about destroying hospitals. They are holding the superintendent of Razwan Hospital, and I don't think they are not human beings. They are butchers.
And it's so sad for somebody who's been through a very similar situation after World War II to do exactly the same and perpetrate even more, be more vicious, more brutal towards others in this century is something that defies logic.
So the children are dying of hypothermia, women are buried under rubble, journalists have been killed, although they are covering the war, they are not active combatants. So they they have no qualms, they have no rules, they have no morality. They just want to
destroy and destroy and keep on destroying.
It's ethnic cleansing, nothing else. Genocide is a small word. I think we'll have to make up a new words for the Gaza killings. I think this is horrible.
And unprecedented, at least for this century. I don't know of previous centuries, but at least this century, this is unheard of as far as the conflict is concerned. Dr. Jamil Ahmed Khan Sahab, coming to you, as far as a report by the Palestinian Ministry of Awqaf and Religious Affairs, in the year 2024, 815 mosques have been destroyed and partially damaged. Another 151 mosques have been partially destroyed. The fact is also that when it comes to the Al-Aqsa Mosque, there have been various incursions by the Israeli settlers who are being given the protection of the Israeli army, who go and then do their prayers there, which is also something that is against the agreement that had been made between the two sides. How do you see the religious angle to all of this? Dr. Jamil, I think you must have muted. If you could just push on the unmute, we could maybe hear you, because we can't.
Yeah, what I was saying was that Israel wanted all the was influence on resolutions. That is one. Second, so far as the agreement between the two parties are concerned, that obviously would not be respected by the Israelis. Rather, Israelis are facilitating, the government is facilitating all these sectors to further expand. And that's one of the purposes of Gaza, this ethnic cleansing. And that's what they did in 1948, where they had really raised about 56,000 houses at that time, and about more than 50 villages and towns were totally destroyed. All those places now are occupied by the settlers. And that's what they did in 1967, was they occupied land and they further extended their settlement. This is what they did in Golan Heights, as our other panelist was also mentioning. And Golan Heights, again, there is a Security Council resolution that this occupied territory has to be vacated. But instead of vacating that, instead of going away from this occupied territory, they are further expanding towards Syria, about 134 square kilometers. They have had this incursion now. And Golan Heights, besides in the violation of the Security Council resolution, Golan Heights has been accepted bilaterally by the previous Trump government. So that means now they recognize, the United States recognize Golan Heights against the United Nations Security Council resolution, that is a sovereign territory of Israel. Means the United States during Trump's regime had legitimized this occupation, means all the other occupation with Israel. Coming back on the point of Gaza, they have really massacred, as we were discussing, more than 500 medical staff so far, including doctors, nurses, and all medical staff, medical workers. They've been killed there, including the superintendent of the hospital, as you're listening what they are doing with him. And NGOs, many NGOs, buildings have been destroyed, more than 60,000 buildings destroyed, about 85% of the buildings are unlivable now. Infrastructure, they are destroyed to the extent that it would take quite several years to really restore that and rehabilitate that.
All right, Dr. Saab, I'll come back to you because the voice is a bit shaky, maybe because of a faulty internet connection. Dr. Tughral, Yamin, Hamas and Israel are again in the midst of a peace deal. I mean, ceasefire deals are going on in Qatar as we speak. Now, there are different sides and different stories from both the sides. Hamas says that it has agreed for an exchange of 34 captives. The Israeli side said it has no idea of what is happening and it has not received any such indication from the Palestinian side. The US Secretary of State has also told reporters in South Korea that Washington wants to see a ceasefire deal in Gaza concluded and the captives brought out in the next 2 weeks. Remember that this government is ending on the 20th of January, so that they want this win before this government ends and the Trump administration takes place. What are the expectations in your point of view this time from the ceasefire deal? Will the Biden administration exert sufficient pressure for this ceasefire deal to pass through before this government ends?
Biden administration is lame duck. They have no leverage, neither within their own country or abroad. So I don't think Biden or Blinken would be able to push through the peace deal. If they do, it will be a miracle. The problem is that there are 100 odd hostages, and from this latest report, it transpires that among the hostages, the Israeli hostages, they are children, they are old people, and they are women also. So I think these are probably the people that the Hamas are willing to let go. The others might be able-bodied men or whatever, they might like to hold on to them. So the Israelis don't want a halfway deal. They will say release all 100 or don't release anyone. But Trump has said, when I come on the 20th of January, I'll make sure that they release everybody. So this is one of the Trumpian threats that he's been giving to the world at large. But it's a shame, it's a pity. I don't think the world will forgive us also. We are silent spectators. We are seeing this butchery and massacre and genocide taking place, and we have not been able to do
I think this is an example that will be written in the history books and told to our future generations as what not to do in cases. Dr. Jamil, if you can hear us, what in your point of view will be the fate of UNRWA, the main agency that has now been banned by the Knesset to work from the end of this month in 2025? What happens to basic humanitarian aid in Gaza, the little that is arriving, that is?
No one has to really look into the background of it. In fact, Israel wants to starve the people. Whatever number of people, about 46,000, they have already killed, children, women, elderly people, all included. And now they've started doing it about last 7-8 months to starve them to death. They just limited, they were able to release limited trucks for the aid. But now UNRWA, that is the only organization which was able to really keep them alive. And now the Israel, it appears that to avoid, and after using about 85,000 tons of the explosive and bombs there on Gaza, now they want to really strike them by doing that. UNRWA, now that is totally against all the tenets of international law. Not only UNRWA, they are trying to ban it, and which they cannot because there are member countries, 192 more member countries. And if they are banning it, they are violating the very condition of the membership of United Nations. That's one. But then, as I said, that they don't have any respect for the international law, so they are not doing that because there is a background to that. In fact, I've been mentioning it that Israel wants to achieve its aim, and this is what the president-elect also said, that Israel should quickly finish their job before the ceasefire is announced. So the job finishing is that do the ethnic cleansing and then establish your own administration. The Israel is going to establish its own administration or perhaps totally occupied. And that's what the aim is. And that's why they want all the prisoners to be released. And that's what the president-elect also wants, that all the prisoners should be released. So these indicators are self-explanatory, that it's taking Israel towards its main aim, and that is the aim which was carved out, or which was the targets and aim which they had set forth in 1897, once the Zionism was established in Switzerland in their first meeting, and ever since they are moving and they are going towards Greater Israel. And that has been
Dr. Saab, I'd like to understand also one thing. We've talked about the massacres, we've talked about the brutalities, but in this whole midst have also been certain decisions that were taken by international agencies, organizations such as the ICC and the ICJ. Now the Israeli newspaper Haaretz says that the Israeli government is participating or to assist Israeli soldiers who might face arrest who are participating in war crimes in Gaza when they travel abroad. And this happens because there was one case as far as Brazil is concerned, and the soldier had to run away from the area. Once he got to know that he might be arrested. There are complaints that have been filed in South Africa, Sri Lanka, Belgium, France and Brazil against Israeli soldiers. Does that mean, in your point of view, that the rulings of ICJ and ICC, although they have not really had an effect on the Israeli leadership, has had some kind of effect on Israeli soldiers or the whole brutalities of those soldiers who might be going to other countries. So whenever the Israeli leadership or these soldiers go to or visit other countries, they might be facing arrest.
Well, I've seen that happening in East Timor. I've seen that happening, the arrest warrants, and I've seen that happening in Kosovo. And the statutes of ICC is very clear. The Article 8 of the statute is very clear. It is a war crime, basically, and anyone who is involved in war crime can be arrested and prosecuted. And once the investigation in progress, the investigation can open the name of anyone who participated in the Gaza war. And since the Gaza war by itself, they have declared that Israel has been committing war crimes. So all participants of that operation, they automatically come in the ambit of that ICC statute. And ICC statute is very clear. Any member country of the United Nations, they have the incumbent responsibility. They have their responsibility to arrest people involved in any war crime and declared as such by the ICC. So I would not be surprised when it starts happening. So far as the leadership is concerned, because they are moving in protection, and the member countries, although they have the capacity to intercept it in the air, in their airspace, but they have not done so because of the pressure of the United States, and because they feel that there would be some repercussion for it, like the OIC, like the Arab League. They have not been able to take any unilateral action in terms of imposing sanction of depriving Israel from using their airspace, or for that matter, banning restriction on their products. So likewise, the other countries, but the Western countries, they have their pressure of their constitution, pressure of their law, and their public. So some of these soldiers, once they visit the countries abroad, and the member countries, some of the member countries, they are quite vocal about it, and I would not be surprised if they start getting arrested. Not only that, but the United Nations and the countries, because the way the geopolitical landscape would change ultimately, and subsequently the way things are moving from global west to global east, one day, because the war crime, commitment of war crime, it never dies down. Sooner or later, people have to be brought to the book and have to be brought in the ambit.
This is, I mean, I hope it's sooner than later, Dr. Jamil, because the way things are going on, and the way, you know, there is no proper action that is being taken against all these brutalities, apart from ICC and ICJ, even that is not implementable in letter and spirit, because there are many countries who do not, have the agreements with the ICC or the ICJ. Nevertheless, let's wish and hope that all the culprits are brought to book sooner than later. Thank you very much, Jamil Ahmed Khan Sahab, to have joined us. Let's come to you, Dr. Tughral. Dr. Tughral, the administration of the outgoing President Biden has notified Congress of a planned $8 billion arms sale to Israel. And this has been confirmed by several media outlets. This sale is likely to be approved by Congress as well. I will not go into the details of the weapons, but in August also there was another package worth $20 billion that had been approved. November, there was another package of $680 million that was also approved. I mean, I don't understand why does the US continue to sell arms or give arms to Israel when the whole world knows, including the US, what Israel is doing with it.
Only the Americans in their superior wisdom know why they are pumping in so much money into Israel. Actually, this is police action. You don't need state-of-the-art or exotic weapons to kill hapless Palestinians. You don't need to give them billions of dollars. If billions of dollars have to be given, it should be in aid of the people who are starving, who don't have water to drink, who don't have medicines for diseases and sickness and whatever. So I think this is double standard. But what can you say? This is the world's biggest, the most strongest country in the world, technologically the most advanced country in the world. But perhaps they lack human kindness. I don't know why.
Basic humanity, I think. Not
basic
human kindness. I think basic humanity is something.
Absolutely.
Well, not within all of Israel, but within the leadership in Israel, and within
totally
the because we can't, mix everybody together as far as that is concerned.
Even Americans are good people, basically.
True.
But people who are in power, they are so blatantly pro-Israel that it beats imagination.
Let's move a little beyond Palestine. Lebanon says Israel has committed 9 more violations of ceasefire agreement that took place on the 27th of November, bringing the total number of breaches to 392 incidents. Now, I also again do not understand. They do a ceasefire deal, so that also means that if tomorrow they do a ceasefire deal with the Palestinians, it will follow the same course as that with Hezbollah in Lebanon. What is the plan as far as Hezbollah is concerned from the Israeli side?
They have already neutralized Hezbollah. They have killed their senior leadership. Hassan Nasrallah has been killed. The person who replaced him has been killed. Hezbollah is, as far as I think, it's toothless. It has not been able to retaliate in the manner that it had done earlier and force the Israelis to leave South Lebanon. They have not been able to do that. Iran, their basic supporter, their main supporter, is also very worried. They are not supporting Hezbollah the way they had been doing in the past. So I don't think Hezbollah has any stomach left, appetite left for fight, or they have got the will to fight the Israelis. I think they have also been neutralized.
All right, well, let's see what the future holds as far as Middle East is concerned, because all eyes are on it and on the brutalities that are happening in so many different areas in the Middle East, all because of Israel as being the perpetrator. Thank you very much, Dr. Tughral, Yamin, to have joined us as well and to have discussed the latest as far as the Middle East is concerned and to have come all the way to the studios. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to go to a short break. We'll be back with our second segment. Welcome back. Our second segment, ladies and gentlemen, concerns population, global population, regional population, Pakistan's population, and the different issues that concern population or population control. Now, an equitable and sustainable future for everyone, everywhere, transforming global thinking on critical health and development issues through social science, public health and biomedical research. This is the motto of an organization that is known as Population Council, and we have the privilege of having the president of that very council right here with us in the studios to discuss population and issues surrounding population. Thank you very much, Dr. Rana Hajjeh, president of Population Council, to have joined us.
Thank you very much. Good evening. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for having me.
All right, let's go straight to the nitty-gritty, Dr. Rana Hajjeh. Could you please share with us a little bit about the Population Council's mission? What brings you to Pakistan this time?
Well, the Population Council is an international research organization that was established in 1952. So we're almost approaching our 75th anniversary, and we focus on generating high-quality evidence to support policies in countries that allows them to deal with all the challenges with the populations and to help improving the well-being of populations across the world. We focus specifically on countries with limited resources, and the main areas of focus have been on sexual reproductive health, on empowering women and adolescent girls, including improving opportunities for education as well as health and well-being, and on also addressing all the major factors that affect population control or population growth, which mainly now are climate, for example, and humanitarian crisis.
All right, so we'll discuss climate a little bit later in this interview, but let's come to Pakistan, where you are currently on a short trip. Pakistan's approaches its centenary. What should, in your point of view, be our priorities, and in your point of view, should a rapid fertility decline be one of them, and if so, why?
Yes, of course. Pakistan is approaching by 2047. It will be approaching its centennial anniversary, which is a very important opportunity to set targets for population and for development. I think for Pakistan, issues related to managing population dynamics is a huge priority because it links directly to development and to social growth and empowerment. And that's why I think the focus has been on family planning, but in reality it's much more than family planning. These issues are significantly associated with the ability of Pakistan to reach its development targets and to manage its resources better, and to also focus on investing more in its human capital, and also in being able to reach all the development targets that have been set up now through its national strategies.
Dr. Rana, Hajjeh, you have had a very exclusive curriculum, because I was going through it. You've done so much in this career so far, and you continue to bring more avenues to your CV as we speak. Looking at a little bit in your past, you worked with the World Health Organization as well, and in the family planning and sector and others, where you highlighted many different projects under it for different countries across the world. Can you share your insights as far as the role of family planning is concerned in improving the social and health indicators of countries, say, for example, Pakistan?
Yes, of course. I mean, family, in Pakistan, it's still one of the countries, of course, with the highest fertility rates in South Asia, and a big part of this, one of the main reasons is, for example, limited access to many of the family planning services, for example. And we have study and data that the Population Council, research supported by the Population Council, to show the main reasons behind the low rate of use of family planning services. For Pakistan, it will be very critical to integrate many of the family planning services in their healthcare programs and primary healthcare, so that these services are available more widely to the population, and especially to women who are coming from very limited resources, who don't have access to these services. And that actually is very important to the country, because it relates to strengthening to universal health coverage, which is ensuring people have access to all the services they need for their health and well-being. But also it's very much linked to strengthening the health systems in countries. And when you strengthen health systems, of course, you improve access to all the services that are needed. So that's, I think, from a health perspective, very important to integrate the services, and also to focus on empowering the health workers, especially in the communities, because these are the workers the women have access to, so that they can better support these programs. And the Population Council has done quite a bit of work with the community midwives, with the lady health workers, which, this is one of the success stories of actually systems in Pakistan, to make sure they are also more empowered and better trained to support family planning services and ensure the women. It's really women and families. I will emphasize that these are joint decisions that women and families and their partners take together to really support, to make sure they can support their health overall. For example, in Pakistan, there's a big issues when you have, many pregnancies back to back, that are not well spaced. This really affects the health of the mothers, the women. It affects the health of the children, and of course it affects the ability of the family to focus on the education of these kids and on the future development of these children, and affects the family as a whole. And as a result, it affects the country's ability to reach its development targets. So I think by making sure we link these health services in an integrated way to development platforms, it can really play a major role in helping the country with further economic and social development.
You talk of economic and social development, Dr. Rana, Hajjeh, but the fact is that countries such as Pakistan are grappled by incidences due to climate change. Now, we've gone through the floods of 2022 when 1/3 of our country was submerged underwater, and that causes a lot of impact as far as our health system is concerned, because you talk of strengthening the health system as well. All the systems are impacted because of issues that pertain to climate change. In your point of view, do you see an intersection of family planning, of population dynamics and climate resilience in Pakistan?
Yes, of course. I think we have learned, and Pakistan really suffered from the recent floods that led to displacements of millions of people. Of course, this links two issues. Family planning, of course, would allow the better planning for these and better ability to deal with these environmental and its climate crises, or even other crises, because there's a possibility of displacement due to any other crisis, and family planning can really help with that. But again, it brings me to the importance of why it's important to strengthen these systems so that we develop better resilient systems that allow the country to deal with climate change overall. And family planning can really help the country, because the focus will be, they will shift the resources on how can we develop these stronger systems, rather than the country now basically having to use, because of the, I would call it the population crisis really in Pakistan, the inability to reduce fertility rate. I think this has really affected the country ability to invest more in some critical areas like education, like empowering human capital, like development overall. And that's where I think family planning can really help with that, of course, in addition to mitigating the impact of climate change.
All right, Dr. Rana, I'd also want to know more about your research, your advocacy that you've been doing, not just in our country, but in many countries across the world. Can you highlight any success stories that you remember, or any impactful initiatives in, for example, maybe in Pakistan or any other country, that demonstrate the tangible benefits as far as your work is concerned?
Yeah, of course. I mean, the Population Council has led significant research. I mean, many years ago, the research was also on developing products that can be used for family planning. Many of the contraceptives that are currently used around the world actually have been developed by the Population Council, including some of the long-acting reversible contraceptives, the hormonal IUDs, and many others. I mean, we know that 1 out of 5 women around the world actually uses one contraceptive method that is developed by the Population Council. This is on the product development side. On the also on family planning side, and including in Pakistan, we have led research, for example, to come up with innovative methods to improve access. For example, in Pakistan, there was a very active project that is still ongoing now and was adapted by Punjab about vouchers which were used to in collaboration with many other programs like BISP and others, to support women access to better family planning services, education, etc. We have developed one of the main now pillars of family planning are programs that relate to quality of care. It's not just about following numbers, it's at ensuring that women are getting quality of care, also services for family planning, and that was also a paradigm and a model that was introduced by the Population Council now over 25 years ago, that is still being used around the world.
Dr. Rana, when it comes to women empowerment or gender equality, many organizations are working in that respect, which include the United Nations as well as your organization. Do you feel, in your point of view, that family planning programs can contribute somehow, somewhere to gender parity or to women empowerment?
Yes, of course. I think family planning overall, but it's not about just family planning. It's about services to ensure women, recently we've been focusing on adolescent girls because that's a very large proportion, and we know in Pakistan you have majority of the population is under 25. So I think focusing on youth in particular and adolescent girls specifically has a major impact on both family planning, population growth, as well as really country development, because by empowering these women to make their own health decisions, by educating them, by helping them develop their careers, I think this has major impact on the country development. I mean, this is the generation that's going to build the country, and that's why I think equity in general and focusing on gender equity and really access to all the education and the health and other services is really very important. It's one of the main principles that guides family planning, but I think it's beyond just family planning.
All right, I'd like a short answer to this one.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about the developing of this narrative of tawazzun or balancing. Can you elaborate on this global transition and how tawazzun reiterates or relates to Pakistan's context in our contemporary times?
Yes, tawazun was also another innovative, I mean, it sounds very simple, but actually it's another innovative model that was introduced by the Population Council and that received a lot of support from various other global agencies, UN agencies, other partners. I mean, the idea is balance, and the balance between population growth and the use of resources. It's a very, I think it's a concept that is very simple relatively, that has very strong roots in even Pakistan and the regional, really socio-religious culture, where I mean our religion, I mean Islam calls for balance in everything, balance in in the way we conduct ourselves and the way we make decisions about life. And the idea was that if we continue to grow in Pakistan at this rate, we're going to outgrow the resources that will allow the country to put the investments in the right place. And that's really the main principle for tawazun, and now this is being adopted by many other agencies because it serves as a good platform really to ensure that balance and to support policies that the government has to really or the decisions governments have to make in Pakistan and other countries to really make sure they balance the needs of the population and the individual choices, because we are not here about imposing. I mean, all of this has to be voluntary. It has to be based on evidence, on conviction by the individual, why this is important for them and for the families. It's not just about the empowerment of one part of the society. It's about empowerment of the whole society and about the country's future development.
Dr. Rana, Hajjeh, last question. You became the CEO and President of Population Council in September 24. That's just a couple of months down the lane, but you've been toiling very hard, let's put it that way, since you've joined, to work in different on different narratives across the world, in Pakistan as well. What is your vision as far as this organization's role is concerned to shape global or national policies in the coming years?
Yes, I would love to support and to grow the Population Council to become even, it's already a very important player in population studies and research, but I think there's a lot of room to become even a bigger player and to have more capacity and presence to support strong research, to allow governments. We really thrive to become partners of governments to help them achieve their population and development goals, and also to ensure that we bring enough advocacy to empower women and girls in particular to make evidence-based decisions to allow them to have better health, well-being, and better lives overall.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rana, Hajjeh, President and CEO, Population Council, to have come to our studios, to have joined us for this exclusive tete-a-tete, and for us also to understand better what the vision of Population Council is and where you want to take it as well. We wish you a very pleasant stay in Pakistan and the number of days that you have in different cities that you'll be passing through, and all the very best for the rest of your sojourn. Stay with us for a couple of minutes while I end this show. Let's end with our last two segments, ladies and gentlemen. The first concerns the Chinese scientist that has named 16 new spider species after popular songs. Now, these popular songs are by a Mando pop musician named Jay Chu. What is very interesting is that this is the first time that a scientist has named 16 different species of spiders based on popular songs. Never happened before, and this is what has generated a lot of curiosity and interest of the scientific community and the youth as well as to why they did that. So there are different names as per the different songs of this Chinese pop singer, and maybe this is one way to create or generate more interest as far as the arachnoids are concerned. Who knows, maybe tomorrow we'll have new species of dinosaurs being named on pop songs as well. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, the 82nd Golden Globe Awards were recently held in the US. In fact, they were held last night, but in Pakistan it was already morning. The Brutalist and Emilia Perez won top honors in these awards. 27 categories were awarded in film and in television. Viola Davis was presented with the Cecil B. DeMille Award. Ted Danson was given the Carol Burnett Award at the Golden Globes inaugural Golden Gala. The Brutalist was crowned Best Film Drama and also Best Director and Best Actor for Adrian Brody. Emilia Perez won Best Film and also Best Supporting Actress, Best Song and Best Non-English Language Film as well. One shocker that came was Demi Moore's win, in fact, after 45 years of being in this whole business. And she had a very lovely speech to say on how a lot of people had told her that she was just a popcorn actress and she would never get any accolades whatsoever. But her film The Substance proved otherwise, and now she's also in the running, most probably for an Oscar as well. The Brazilian actress Fernanda Torres also won for her performance in I'm Still Here, which is based on a true story about a family living through the disappearance of a political descendant, Rubens Paiva, in 1970s Rio de Janeiro. So a lot of different stories, because the whole committee of the Golden Globes has also changed. It's a new committee that comprises of journalists from across the world. So they also selected diverse stories, diverse actors and actresses, and of course they were given the accolades. From the television side, it was Shogun that was the main winner. Hacks was also one of the winners. The Bear, Baby Reindeer, and True Detective Jodie Foster won, as well as Colin Farrell, who won for his physical transformation in The Penguin. Ladies and gentlemen, I would have gone a bit more on these awards, but it's interesting to note how film and television are evolving as well globally. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we come to an end of today's newsroom. We'll see you inshallah tomorrow with new story segments that pertain to us, you in Pakistan. Stay safe. Allah Hafiz.